Hola, I'm Sean, aka Cablesmith, aka the man Corey now hates. If you know, you know. Anyway, I know I said the next video is going to be racking the container out on one side or on the other side, but it's not. It's going to be second fixing for that landlord. If you've watched a couple of videos back when we was first fixing, yeah, well now we're second fixing using Verso everything, consumer unit, RCBOs, sockets, switches, fan isolator, pretty much all the white accessories. Yeah, let's just head straight over there now and then move right into the video. Ryan wasted zero time, started doing down lights. We're using them ones again because I let in property, so yeah, I don't want calls off tenants that the lights have gone and we can't change bulbs. The only ones that we've got that are integrated are these Ansel Prism Pros, and I'll show you why. Right now, if you remember this room, this is the little Jack and Jill doodah, and yeah, we're still not finished now because they had it up there, but they've lowered the ceiling because it's quite a narrow room. It looked pretty ridiculous, so he's lowered it and created like a little storage area up there, but in doing so he's left us almost no space there, so the only downlights that I could find to fit the same size hole that I'd already cut out and the shallow depth was them Ansels. I believe they're a good fitting, so we've got just them three for in that area, and then the fan, we've got an inline fan because obviously that's the shower and it's a bit sprayy. Right, back to the Verso gear.
I'm annoyed. Disappointed.
For what? Disappointed with what?
What?
Disappointed with what?
Can't tell you.
So we got a pretty much one of everything at least from the Verso gear. All sockets, all feel good quality. Not used them before, but we've got 1 gang, 2 gang, 3 gang, intermediate, fan isolator, the new USB with Type C as well, which are both independently fed, so it doesn't like share charging or voltage or whatever. They're both independent. Quite nice, to be honest. Nice and clicky. We've got the cooker outlet, dimmer switch, single sockets, we've got pretty much everything. I believe this is actually one of the older fuse spurs. Now all the terminals are in line on this. There's one upside down, but the switches, they're all modular switches. So should you want anything different, you could stick an intermediate in the middle of there, a fan isolator, a fuse carrier, a key switch, pretty much anything from that range. They've got like a 10 amp range with about 16, 17 different things on it. So you can just kind of build up whatever switch you want. Nice sized terminals, captive screws, all in line. And they're actually certified to the same standard as MK and Hager, which is pretty good for that price range. So yeah, let's start using them. I could do the board first, but that then means disconnecting circuits to test them, which just makes it a bit more messy and just faffing about. So I'm going to go and do the downstairs sockets. Right, that's the sockets on in this room. There's only one more, it's that one out there, then that's the downstairs sockets completed, the rest is just kitchen sockets on a separate circuit. But obviously I can't do that back area because it's not been touched yet, but then I'll just stick connectors on it so I can turn these sockets on. Those sockets are bang on, quality's all there. I like to use a 5.5 flathead to tighten my terminals up on sockets because that's about the right size for that screw. So one of the good things is the actual faceplate screws that they send you accept the same size screwdriver. The click modes that I use normally, I do have to use a smaller screwdriver just to put the socket screws in most of the time. Like the slot inside the screw is not big enough just for that screwdriver. It's only a minor little niggle, but also when you get the sockets out of the bag, the screws are already halfway backed off, and it's just enough to get your two cables in there. Anyone who's not an electrician probably thinks that doesn't make a difference, but when you're putting them on all day, then it does. It actually saves quite a fair bit of time. I'm going to put the USB socket there. It's a nice 35mm box. Oh, what's that, you ask? In fact, yeah, I did. Thanks for asking. I did chase that socket out. You see where I've marked it? In tiles and drilled down without knocking that tile off or breaking any of them. Yes, I did. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah, this is the back bit that's not yet been touched. So all we can do, we've got the ender line for our lighting feed, we can stick connectors on. Ender line for the socket, stick connectors on, and then that means that all this area is then dead. Well, apart from the feeds obviously, but they can overboard the ceiling or do whatever they're doing. Overall, the Verso gear, pretty good. In fact, there's nothing that I don't like about it, to be honest, so yeah, it's pretty good. Fan isolator looks nice as well. Nice quality. Nice big terminals, nice big screw heads. Instead of those poxy little things. Same with the switches, the screw heads are nice and big instead of little tiny things. MKs are tiny and I hate them. Yes, I got in. So you need to redo these lights because obviously, if you was watching, that was supposed to be the ceiling, so it was all above that, waiting to come in, but now underneath this is the ceiling. Right, that's that done. There, down there, that cable sucked. I'm going to just stick one of the DeWalt staples on it and staple them across the top. This is the fan, inline fan. I'm going to put it on this piece of wood somewhere and go straight through there. Obviously the duct's got to come through this sort of storage floor, but it is only a cupboard. Got to staple it in the lowest half. I have to staple it there because I can't get the height there. Thought I'd connect this flex up before I'm going to have to put it upside down there. It's the only place where it fits. It won't fit on top with the height. I've just got like a little fly lead to change over from the 3/4 earth, because obviously that's made for a flex. You see it all the time with just the cores running in, but how to do it. What are them lights like? I'm coming having a look now. Is this one in?
Yeah.
Is it looking at it?
Yeah. Alright.
Where is it? Oh, there's a piece of wood there. I was about to check your connections then from up here, but there's a piece of wood in the way.
Don't need to check my connections, it's perfect.
Ryan's just down there doing the other side of that duct. I mean, it's not the best, but what else can we do? We'll get a bit more slack back on that in a minute. It's just, I never really fancy dipping downwards to these. Prefer these to be higher and heading out, so if there's any water built up it's not going to do that, but there's nothing else that we can do, so should be alright. So I'll just clip that across there and I'll just put a Wago box on top of there and basically join them together so that this has got its... To be fair, these fans should come with like a metre of flex coming out of them already. Same way like a security light does. There's no point me keep showing you myself putting sockets and stuff on. So, socket, switch, fan isolator for that fan. Boys over at D&J Projects on YouTube, belting channel. Anyway, been watching them and Stevie taught me how to do this. Boom, there it is. Nice. I wish I'd have used that technique whilst I was stuck up there. Oh, it's done everything as well. It's actually worked on them all. Hey, don't work for crappy plastering though, does it? Hey, turn them off. Still need to get the dustpan in here. I have swept it all to just here so I don't have to climb back in again. There's our bit of a weird inline fan. Clipped in. That's that bit's there. Going in there. Obviously just need to sweep up just a bit of a storage area for them. Anyone from Versal's watching this? Sorry. I'm sorry. Kind of proves that I don't get paid for saying Versal stuff's really good. Which it is. That plastic on them Ansel Prism Pros and it's a bit cheap and nasty. The actual light fitting feels really nice and solid, but then that, not really my thing. Not like these Aurora ones, all steel and dead heavy. That, and that is for there. Right, so Ryan's just finishing off a bit of second fixing in the kitchen. And all we've got left really to do is the consumer unit, which I'll show you now. We've got a bit of messing about with the existing wood, the board that all the D&O equipment's on because it's a bit rickety, walls falling apart. So I'm probably going to have to try and get a decent fix in that. I'll show you now. I don't think there's any screws in the bottom anymore. Oh, not the best. Challenge accepted. Right, Tony. Tell Pablo we all know he's pulling the sicker. Nice one for that, mate. See you later. Right, so Tony, that's a nickname DNO Toe. Obviously he works for the DNO, and he's come and sorted this backboard out for me and moved the meter and the isolator and stuff, so I've got a bit of space now to work with. I'll show you that now. I'll let him use my nail pad. Yeah, so all these was just falling out, he told me. But it's solid now. I've had to get some halfway up. Bottom of it, there's no chance, he said. He's had to move all the gear because there's just no space whatsoever for a normal size. That will now nicely sit on there. And we've got a beautiful backboard ready to mount the consumer unit on. And as always, the way we prefer it, rear entry. Oh god damn, we all love a bit of rear entry. Took the USB socket off for me now, because I was a bit hasty throwing that on. He's Wagoed them up so I can get my IR tests. He's got now his DNO toe. He used my meter tails to relocate that, and he's not left me with a long enough brown one now to come out of that isolator. He was thinking about just getting rid of the isolator altogether, and then he would have had enough to go straight from the meter. But I said, no Tony, no Tony. I think my wholesale is on the way now with a new pack. Board's all mounted. Board's mounted. Well, board and board. I brought my cables in these intermittent grommets, so if there's any fire, they seal the self-extinguishing and all that. Ignore that level. There. Oh, no, hang on. There we go. Now the board's level. Anyway, we're going to bring our tails in there with the tails gland straight into the isolator. And the reason I've done this is because it's all behind the RCBO, so it should, in theory, be nice and neat. Even though these do come with some belting knockouts. And this is where we're at now. Wholesaler's still not turned up with my glatt tails, which is going to make it a bit harder for me to get in there. Now this looks a bit messy, but I've got all my earths in there, down the back of the RCBOs, up and round. So there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a consumer unit. Best electrician on YouTube style. Only it won't work without them. I'm going to straighten these out. Still got to fight the tails in yet, so there's no point being too bothered. Only downside, Verso, this is really bugs me. It's all nice and tidy, and then I've got to get that little thing there like that, and it just completely ruins the whole look of it. Whereas the earth one's massive. I've got my tails in. These, I'm telling you now, don't want to be pressing that, I'm telling you now, these RCBOs and this board in general is absolutely solid. No matter how tight you tighten them up, they do not budge an inch. Look at them. None of them twist. Something you rarely find on any board. The actual crocodile clip fits onto the earth bar. It's not too tight up to the top, you can fit it on and it won't fall off. Just appreciate how nicely these covers go on when the RCBOs don't twist out of place. Look at that for nice. Absolutely perfect, man. You know what, it's on so good it won't even need screwing in. That'll do it anyway. Right then, that is pretty much all complete. We have got a bit of slack down there. I've tucked them down and then back up for anyone that's going to have a whinge about maybe the cables are short or not. All done, labelled up. Not a single twisted RCBO. You can't say that about any other board. Not that I've come across anyway. All powered up, apart from obviously the back area there, 'cause it's not done. We've just got where it goes on that socket and where it goes on the lighting feed. We can finish that off as and when. The tenant's actually getting her own pendant for there above the island. These lights are really decent. Don't know if that flickering or not. Some of them kind of coming on at a different time. It's not really good. That's on a two-way switch with here. And the other switch. Really nice accessories from Verso then. Bedroom 1. Nice and bright, them bulbs. Decent. These lights were actually meant to be cool white and they're not. So, a bit bothered by that. Lights the room up nicely. And obviously brings the fan on, which is very powerful. And back off, but it's on an overrun timer. Sockets all on, switch for the bathroom. Lights are in an L shape, and the switch is there. But again, lights it up beautiful. Bulbs are really good. I'm happy with them. If I ever use GU10 downlights again, it's definitely going to be them with them bulbs. They're really good. Obviously that foam's a bit ridiculous, but he's going to cut that off. He can tile right round that perfectly, and then I can cut that off when I come back to fit the grill. Not the grill, the fan. Outside lights are not on. Again, the tenant wanted them herself, so she's bought them. We've put the outside grill on there. Yeah, that mains board, or consumer unit, is really, really good. Like, the quality of it is outstanding for the budget price that it comes in at. And no, they are definitely not paying me to say that. Anything like that, I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I've used loads of different mains boards. None of them are that good quality, no matter the price. It weren't that long ago that we fitted one of the more leading brands of mains board. I'm not mentioning any names, but they were quite expensive, almost double the price. And while they are very good quality and they are probably, I'd say, worth the money, they've stood the test of time, they are a good brand. But that Verso mains board is better quality. It is by far better quality. If you've not tried it, just go and try it, because you won't look back. That's enough preaching. Use what you're comfortable with. I'm just telling you that's a really good board. Anyway, home time. Don't forget to sub, like, comment. See you on the next one.